God says, a witch whispered your name over a flame last night. Ignore this, and the fire will follow you. Open this now. Just before the dawn, when silence blanketed the earth, your name was whispered, not by angels, but by the tongue of a witch, into the belly of a flame. And heaven heard it first. There was a shift in the spirit realm last night. A trembling, a murmur, a disturbance that reached the ears of the Most High. It happened just before the dawn, when the stars had not yet gone to sleep, and the world lay hushed under the weight of secrets. It was in this charged silence that your name was whispered into fire. But it was not heaven that whispered. It was darkness. It was someone who thought they were hidden, someone cloaked in ritual and rebellion, who dared to summon flame against you. Yet before the match was struck, before the candle flickered, heaven responded. Your name echoed back through eternity, not in fear, but in authority. Your name stirred angels from rest and awakened watchers in the spirit. You are not reading this by chance. This message is not for many. It is not for those who scroll blindly through the noise. No, this is for the one whose spirit has been burning, for the one who has felt sudden heat on their back, for the one who hath been waking up in unrest, unable to explain the weight that sits on their chest, the one who knows something in the atmosphere has changed. Heaven has not revealed this to frighten you. No, this is not fear. This is a divine alert. The flame that was lit in secret has been exposed in the courts of God. It was not simply a ritual. It was a signal, a strike against your destiny, and yet heaven intercepted it before it could find its mark. But now, you must be awakened. Only those who sit in stillness will understand. Only those who obey in silence will perceive. Because this fire was not only lit to harm you, it was lit to reveal you. Fire in Scripture is never just destruction. It is purification. It is exposure. It is divine warding. And it is protection cloaked in mystery. This fire that was conjured has not gone unnoticed. And now, heaven is requiring your response. Let your spirit hear this truth. Something was spoken about you in darkness, but heaven heard it first. And when heaven hears, heaven answers. Type I am chosen in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 666 is now surrounding you. The Spirit of God is speaking. The air is shifting. The veil is thin. Right now, as you hear these words, something is shifting in your atmosphere. It is not your imagination. It is not a coincidence. It is divine timing. There are moments in eternity when God tears the veil, when He stretches open the heavens and declares, "Enough." And this is one of them. The Spirit of God is speaking, and the whisper that was made over a flame in darkness has now been countered by a roar from the throne. This message is not general. This is not a broadcast to the masses. It is a prophetic delivery for one whose name pierced the stillness of night. Your name. You are not listening by accident. Your ears were opened by assignment. Because before you woke up this morning, heaven had already intervened. The flame they lit was not just fire, it was a summons. It was a call to spirits that do not sleep. But what they did not know is that the God you serve never sleeps either. And while they invoked shadows, God released light. A divine intersection occurred. Heaven stepped between you and an unseen ritual. A flame may have burned in the natural, but in the spirit. A line was drawn. Angels were dispatched. Your wings swept around your dwelling. Their swords pierced the darkness. You were never unguided. You were watched. You were shielded. Hear this. Within the next 24 hours, a decision in the Spirit will be sealed. What was spoken over you must now be confronted by what has been spoken for you. Your silence cannot continue. You must respond with understanding, authority, and spiritual alignment. Heaven is not only watching, heaven is waiting. This is spiritual warfare, not superstition, not folklore. This is not emotionalism. This is divine intelligence, alerting you to a plan that was crafted in secrecy but exposed by sovereignty. Your spirit has felt it. The agitation, the heaviness, the sudden shift in emotional climate. That's not confusion. That's confirmation. They gathered. They plotted. They lit a candle and whispered your name with venom on their tongue. But the fire that heard your name did not just rise. It answered back. Because when the chosen are targeted, heaven responds like a mother lion over her cub. They thought they could manipulate your path with a flicker. But what they didn't realize was that your name was already written in fire on the altar of the Most High. You have been marked, but not for destruction, for deliverance. This is the moment where fear bows to discernment, where confusion bends to revelation. This is where you understand. You were not forgotten. You were targeted because you carry something the enemy cannot decode. They sensed your light. They smelled your purpose. They detected your rise. So, take heed. This is your summoning. This is heaven's way of pulling you into deeper clarity. Do not shrug this off. Do not silence what your spirit is screaming. For within 24 hours, your alignment will determine your authority. You are not who they think you are, and the fire that was meant to consume you, it now answers to you. Type "I am anointed" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1122 is now activated. They whispered your name, but they didn't whisper it in love. They whispered it in shadows, over fire, under breath, and with intention. And even now, if you quiet yourself, you'll feel the weight of what they spoke, not because their words had power, but because heaven recorded their attempt. Something inside you has been stirring, something uneasy, something tight in your chest, and for days now, you haven't been able to explain why the air around you feels heavy, why your sleep has been disturbed, or why your spirit has been trembling in silence. It is because a transaction was attempted in the dark, but it could not pass unnoticed. You have been sensing it, not in your mind, but in your soul. The tension, the restlessness, the spiritual heat that follows you like a smoke you didn't light. You've walked into rooms and felt eyes that watched you too long. You've heard your name in conversations you weren't part of. You felt suspicion hover like a shadow. But it goes deeper than gossip. This is not about natural drama. This is about spiritual disturbance. And what they don't know is that while they whispered your name with candles and curses, the name they spoke is blood-covered, spirit-marked, and heaven-guarded. This is why you felt off-center. Why people you trusted have suddenly grown distant or cold. Why conversations have turned. Why favor seems delayed. Why the atmosphere feels strange. Something was released. Not by God, but by someone who thinks they can control outcomes through rituals. What they fail to grasp is that fire is not theirs to play with. In the hands of the enemy, fire seeks to devour. But in the hands of God, fire purifies, reveals, and protects. And now, here you are, not knowing what's coming but feeling something is. And you're right. You've been in a spiritual fog, not because you did anything wrong, but because someone tried to reach into your atmosphere without permission. They used flame as a weapon. They invoked ancient patterns. They tried to drag your name through spiritual heat, hoping to burn away your promise. But God allowed the smoke to rise only so you would wake up. not to fear, but to see. You have felt alone, and not understood why. You've wrestled with a silence in friendships, a confusion in conversations. You've begun to question yourself, but it's not you. It's them. It's the spirit behind them. It's the energy they carried when they invoked your name like a spell. But the Holy Spirit is now clearing the air. He is showing you that you are not crazy, that this isn't just a hard season. It's a targeted one. Your name was spoken in darkness because your destiny shines too bright. So now you must ask yourself, why does the fire follow the chosen? Why do those who carry divine oil attract counterfeit warfare? Why does your name ignite resistance? It is because you are closer to manifestation than you know. The devil doesn't whisper the names of those who pose no threat. He doesn't call fire on the one standing still. He targets the rising, the marked, the anointed, the ones who are about to step into places that others prayed for but never prepared for. You are not weak, you are awakening. You are not cursed, you are called. And the fire that follows you is not chasing you to harm you. It is heaven's way of making sure that everything hidden, everything whispered, everything done in shadows is pulled into the light. Not just for your protection, but for your elevation. Type "I am awake" in the comments if this message has found your spirit. Blessing code 777 is unlocking discernment around you. If this message has pierced your spirit, you already know. This isn't just a video. It's a divine lifeline. Every seed sown into this prophetic space helps ignite deliverance for someone else whose name had been whispered in darkness. As you stand in your own fire, you now have the power to light someone else's path out of confusion and into clarity. God said in 2 Corinthians 9:10, "Now he who supplies seed to the sower will also increase your store of seed and will enlarge the harvest of your righteousness." This is your seed moment, and it is sacred. I hear the Spirit saying, if I stirred your spirit, let what I stirred through you become a fire that frees others. Every super thanks, every membership, every PayPal offering linked in the video description becomes a spiritual echo, reaching those trapped in warfare and lifting their heads. Your giving isn't charity. It's prophecy in motion. And God will honor it like a memorial offering. Speak with action. Move with faith. Release with boldness. Do it now. Heaven will see it. The fire will follow it. And blessing will multiply. You are not cursed, you are confirmed. Listen carefully now. Not with your ears, but with your spirit. The fire that tried to find you was not just warfare. It was revelation. It was confirmation in disguise. It was God allowing the plot to surface so he could show you just how called, just how covered, and just how costly your anointing truly is. They did not light that candle because you are weak. They lit it because your light exposed them. Because when your spirit walked into the room, it disturbed the spirits that had been hiding. They whispered your name over fire not to destroy you, but because they could no longer ignore you. What the enemy sent to burn you has now become a heavenly tool to refine you. This is the mystery of divine conflict, that what was meant to take you out becomes the very thing God uses to lift you up. The attack didn't happen because you were off course. It came because you're dangerously close to stepping into the fullness of your assignment. And the enemy can feel it. Even if you can't see it clearly yet, the pressure you're under is proof of the oil that's being extracted from your life. This fire is not your destruction. It is your revealing. You've been asking why the warfare has intensified, why it feels like everything has gotten hotter, heavier, more intense, why you feel like you're walking through something invisible but real. It's because you are in a crucible of calling. You are passing through fire, not to be consumed, but to be clarified. God is showing you who you are by showing you what is rising against you. The whispers, the manipulation, the plotting in secret, all of it hath been permitted not because heaven was silent, but because heaven was setting the stage for your next elevation. This is not punishment. This is placement. This is divine repositioning. And while they thought they were weakening you, God was stripping away everything that could not come with you to the next level. You carry a light too bright to stay hidden. And so now the darkness has responded. But its response is only noise. Alleluia. Because the God who watches over you has not stepped away for even a second. Every whisper spoken in secret was caught. Every candle lit in defiance was seen. Every word muttered over your name was recorded in the courts of heaven. Nothing escapes divine surveillance. And so now, here is the truth you must wrap around your soul. You were not cursed. You were confirmed. Their attack exposed your authority. Their fire activated your next level. The flame may have been their weapon, but it is now God's process. You are being refined like gold in the furnace, and when you emerge, you will not be the same. You will be stronger, purer, jobber, untouchable. God is not punishing you. God is revealing you. And when God reveals a thing, He does not hide it again. When God exposes you to the spiritual realm, it is because heaven has decided it is time for you to walk in visible authority. Not timidly, not quietly, but boldly. The veil is being lifted. The fire is proving you. So let the heat come. Let the testing rise. Because you are not the victim of this moment. You are the chosen of it. You are not being burned down. You are being reborn in flame. Type I am revealed in the comments if you receive this truth. Blessing code 818 has now entered your season. The energy cast is not yet settled. What was sent is still moving. But heaven is still speaking. Hear this now. The battle is not yet over. Though you've received clarity, the light has started to shine on what was done in secret. The energy that was stirred is still active. It moves like smoke in a sealed room, looking for where it can land, searching for cracks in discernment, waiting for a place where fear might enter. That flame they lit, that ritual they dared to whisper your name into. It summoned something, but it did not complete its journey. It has been paused in the spirit, not by their power, but by divine authority. You must understand the weight of this hour. This is not a time to relax, to dismiss what you feel, or to brush off the spiritual pressure that continues to rise. Because within 72 hours, the clash between light and darkness will reach a tipping point. There is a peak coming, a moment of collision, a spiritual confrontation where heavens shall override hell's intention. But you must stay alert. You must stay hidden in the presence of God. Because though the flame cannot touch you, it still seeks you. You may feel it now, the atmosphere tightening, the unease creeping again, the sense that something is about to break. That is not paranoia. That is prophecy. Your spirit is picking up what your mind cannot comprehend. Because what was cast was not just words, it was intention, seated in fire, wrapped in jealousy, driven by ancient rebellion. And you were the target. Why? Because you carry a weight they can't explain. Because your presence interrupts their comfort. Because your future terrifies their familiar. In the next 72 hours, you will begin to notice small signs, strange patterns, people who suddenly act off, conversations you overhear that seem unusually timed. A person you trust may withdraw. A sudden delay, an unexpected message, a dream that lingers too long. All of these are spiritual signals, indicators that the energy once hidden is trying to find a foothold. But take heart, it cannot. It will not. Not if you stay under the covering of obedience. Not if you walk with discernment and speak only what heaven tells you to say. This is not a warning meant to scare you. It is a signal to position you. Because though the flame still flickers in the spirit, heaven has not withdrawn its protection. God has drawn a line the enemy cannot cross. Angels are stationed at your thresholds. Your name is surrounded. You are sealed. But if you ignore the nudges, if you dismiss the patterns, if you react in the natural instead of responding in the spirit, you may open a door to confusion that heaven never intended. They lit a flame. Yes, but heaven lit a fire before they did. A fire around you. A fire within you. A fire that purifies and protects. What was meant to trail you will now testify for you. What was meant to mark you will now magnify you. So walk in stillness, but with awareness. Watch and pray. Fast if you must. Shut your mouth when needed. Move in silence, because heaven is still handling what you cannot see. And the fire that's trying to reach you, it will soon run out of breath. It will turn on the one who sent it. You are not powerless in this hour. You are not helpless. You are watched. You are covered. You are armed with truth and surrounded by fire from the throne. Type "I am protected" in the comments if this word has warned your spirit. Blessing code 333 is shielding your next 72 hours. Be still. Heaven fights when you do not. Now is the moment to retreat, not in fear, but in divine strategy. For when the fire is moving and the winds of the Spirit are stirred, the wisest warriors are not the ones who shout. They are the ones who listen. Listen now, child of God, because the instructions are not coming from man. They are being whispered by the Spirit. And the first command is this: be still. Stillness is not weakness. Stillness is war. Stillness is where God steps in and does what flesh cannot. The enemy expects your panic. He wants your reaction. But heaven responds to your restraint. Withdraw now, not from your purpose, but from the noise. Withdraw from the conversations that pull your spirit into distraction. Pull back from the places that drain your discernment. The battle has shifted, and your victory will not come through retaliation, but through silence. Because silence in the natural creates thunder in the spirit. And right now, heaven is thundering on your behalf. Speak only what is holy. Let your words be few and your prayers be sharp. The enemy cannot hear what God is doing in your silence, and that is where your power lies. In this moment, you are being called to spiritual posture, not in the eyes of man, but in the courts of heaven. This is the time to anoint your home. This is the hour to fast, even if for one day, to pray without spectacle, to cover your doorposts in your mind, declare over yourself, even in a whisper, no flame lit against me will prosper, no curse spoken over me will land, no word against my name will take root. Your obedience is your covering. Your stillness is your weapon. Your discernment is your shield. If the flame they used was ritual, let the fire you respond with be righteousness. Let it be holy. Let it be pure. Cleanse your space. Open the Word. Let Scripture be the only fire burning in your house. Say aloud the promises of God over your life. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. That is not just a verse. That is protection in motion. Do not fear what was whispered. Do not tremble over the candle they lit. Because long before they spoke your name over that flame, God had already etched your name in the fire of His altar. Before they gathered, heaven surrounded you. Before they chanted, angels stood at your gates. Before they attempted, God had already answered. Your name does not belong to witches. Your destiny is not in the mouth of the wicked. Your path cannot be hijacked by rituals crafted in rebellion. You were not given to this world unguided. You were not sent into this battle without backup. What you are facing is not a curse. It is a call. A call to come deeper. A call to take spiritual ownership. A call to rise into authority and silence the noise with divine power. To be still. Fast quietly. Watch closely. Pray fiercely. Anoint intentionally. Heaven is fighting in rooms you haven't entered yet. Angels are disrupting altars you've never seen. Swords are clashing in realms your eyes can't reach. Your job now is to stay in alignment. To stay surrendered. To stay hidden in the presence of the Most High. This is not your battle. This is your witnessing. And what the enemy meant to burn you with will soon become the flame that testifies of your protection. Type I am covered in the comments if this instruction sealed your spirit. Lesson code 444 is now establishing divine boundaries around you. You are not who they think you are anymore. The fire that once burned you now burns for you. This is the turning point. This is the divine pivot. This is the place where you rise, not in defense, but in dominion. No longer bowed down. No longer hidden. No longer shrinking beneath the weight of spiritual attack. You are not the victim in this story. You are the weapon heaven forged through fire. And now, what once pursued you must now answer to you. You see, they expected you to break. They expected you to retreat, collapse, second guess, and stay low. But what they did not understand is that the fire they sent did not destroy you. It transformed you. They thought the heat would silence you, but instead, it awakened a version of you that even you didn't know was there. You have been reborn, not in flesh but in flame. And now, heaven is declaring, your eyes, fire bearer, you are not hunted. You are the heat. The shift has begun. The weak places in you are hardening into armor. The places that once trembled are now thundering with revelation. You are not who you were before the whisper. You are not the same as you were before they lit the candle, before they mentioned your name in secret. That with the old version of you, the unsharpened sword, the untested vessel, the still sleeping giant. But the fire woke you. The fire proved you. The fire made you dangerous. And now, your spirit is stretching. Now, your mouth will speak differently. Now, your eyes will discern more clearly. Now, your presence will carry weight that makes the enemy flinch. You've stepped out of fear and into firepower. No longer tossed. No longer naive. No longer shaken by the hiss of hell. You've walked through too much. You've been targeted too long. And something inside you has changed. Forever. Heaven has placed a mantle on you. It's heavy yet. It's holy. And it's hot. Because those who survive the flame carry fire in their bones. This is why you can't walk like everyone else. Why you can't speak like everyone else. Why you can't sit comfortably in shallow places. You've been altered. Heaven touched your identity with heat, and now the world must recognize who you truly are. You are rising like wings forged in the furnace. A phoenix reborn from prophetic prayer. You are walking with oil that was pressed out through pain, with vision sharpened by betrayal, with fire that dances on your words. And now, no demon, no witch, no curse can silence what God has ignited inside of you. Speak now with authority. Move now with purpose. Walk now with clarity. Your voice is fire. Your presence is fire. Your story is fire. The same flame that tried to consume you has now become the light that leads others out. You are a torch, not just for yourself, but for others who have been whispered about, targeted, misunderstood, and overlooked. This is not just survival. This is dominion. And you must never go back. Never retreat to the shadows that once held you. Never apologize for the strength you now carry. You are not timid. You are terrible to the kingdom of darkness. You are not broken. You are blazing with purpose. And the one who walks in fire does not flinch at sparks. You are not the hunted anymore. You are the fire. The atmosphere shifts when you enter. The enemy remembers your name, and heaven is roaring behind you. Type "I am the fire" in the comments if this transformation has reached your spirit. Blessing code 1212 has now unlocked your spiritual authority. Your name was whispered on earth, but shouted in heaven. Hear this now. What was sent to destroy you has only served to reveal you. The flame they used was a signal, not of your defeat, but of your divine recognition. Heaven was already watching. The angels already knew. But the moment your name was spoken over that fire, a new sound went out in the spirit realm. Not a cry, not a curse, a summons. Because your name is not ordinary. Your calling is not casual. And this attack, this strange, spiritual heat surrounding you, was not about breaking you. It was about revealing you to the throne. You've been walking quietly, carrying a fire that others couldn't see. You've been moving through this world unnoticed by people but noticed by heaven. And when the enemy whispered your name in darkness, it triggered a divine broadcast. Heaven responded, "That one. That's mine." The shout went out. A warrior has been marked. An intercessor has been confirmed. A mantle has been identified. You were not attacked because you were weak. You were attacked because hell saw what you carry before you even realized it yourself. The enemy is always early. He strikes before the miracle manifests, before the oil flows, before the mantle rests, because he fears what's coming more than he respects what's here. This wasn't about where you've been. This was about what you're about to do. God is now revealing his hand. You are being unwrapped like a sealed scroll. The warfare you felt is tied to the unveiling of your assignment. What you survived was never random. It was always prophetic. Because only pressure can reveal precious stones. Only fire can reveal true gold. And only resistance can expose true rank. Your anointing, the one you sometimes question, is being validated by opposition. Every time they whispered your name with poison, God marked your name with purpose. Every time they chanted in darkness, heaven shouted your identity in glory. You're not invisible anymore. You're not hidden. Heaven has unmasked you. The angels now know what you carry. The demons now know what they failed to stop. And the gates of hell are groaning because your obedience has come alive. This is the hour where you must stop seeing yourself through the lens of brokenness and begin to walk in the boldness of divine recognition. You were not sent to survive this life. You were born to disrupt it with power. You are not just delivered. You are dangerous. You are not simply redeemed. You are released to shake foundations, to light the path for others, to burn through deception and bring forth truth. And now, a promise follows the revelation. Restoration is coming. Clarity is coming. What was stolen through strange warfare will be restored through strange favor. Doors that were locked will now be commanded to open. Your name is echoing in rooms you haven't entered yet. Your image is being stirred in the minds of those assigned to bless you. The attack has ended. The unveiling has begun. This was not about destruction. This was about exposure. Heaven needed to show you who you really are. Heaven needed to show the enemy what he could not have. Heaven needed to show the world what fire looks like when it carries glory. You are no longer hidden. You are now a known name in the heavens. And every whisper spoken in the dark has become an announcement in the light. Type "I am revealed by fire" in the comments if this prophetic word has confirmed your name. Lesson code 1414 is now calling divine exposure over your life. If this message stirred something in your spirit, then you already know. This is not about entertainment. It's about enlistment. You've just heard heaven's confirmation over your life, and now you have a chance to let that fire spread. Every super thanks, every membership, and every gift sown through the PayPal link in the description becomes a seed that sets another warrior free. You're not just giving. You're igniting altars in the lives of people who are still battling the flames sent against them. Isaiah 58:8 declares, "Then your light will break forth like the dawn, and your healing will quickly appear." When you release light, healing follows. When you sow into fire-filled prophecy, God answers with flame and favor. If the Lord whispered your name through this message, let your giving become a shout back to heaven. Bold, rough-headed, obedient, the kind of action hell cannot ignore. So now, release now. Let your fire fund freedom for someone else. Heaven remembers givers of glory. Now speak. I align with divine fire, not human flame. It is time. On tomorrow. When things make more sense. Not when the warfare subsides or when people finally understand you. It is time now. The atmosphere has shifted, the veil has been torn, and the fire has already moved. You are no longer waiting for permission. You are no longer waiting for confirmation. Heaven has already spoken your name, sealed your purpose, and declared your release. What comes next is your activation, not by title, not by ceremony, but by declaration, the alignment of your voice with heaven's fire. Say it now in your spirit. I align with divine fire, not human flame. This is your agreement with heaven. This is your moment of separation from what was conjured in shadows. You are not bonded to the fire they sent. You are married to the fire that saved you. That same fire that burned around Moses at the bush. The same fire that fell on Elijah's altar. The same fire that danced on the heads of the apostles in the upper room. That fire is now resting on you. Let every old identity fall off now. Let every title given to you by fear, by shame, by human hands be stripped. Because the fire does not honor man-made labels. The fire answers only to truth. You are not lost. You are not late. You are not a mistake. You are marked. Called. 10. 5 Gerar, rise, because your destiny is no longer delayed. Is activated. The warfare tried to bury you in silence, but your voice is your weapon now. Speak what heaven says. Declare your inheritance. Declare your positioning. Declare the reversal. Heaven waits for your yes, not your comfort, not your feelings, not your full understanding. Yes, your yes. Say yes, and the wind will meet the fire. Say yes, and angels will accelerate your next steps. Say yes, and the chains still clinging to your bloodline will begin to melt under the heat of your obedience. Do not underestimate what happens when the chosen begin to move. Your first step will shift the next generation. Your first yes will break barriers in the spirit that your family has fought for decades. You are not rising alone. You are bringing freedom with every footstep, with every word you speak in truth. with every act of obedience. The flame you carry now becomes the light for others who have been walking in cycles, confusion, and spiritual silence. You are no longer walking in response to warfare. You are now walking in response to the word of the Lord. This is what hell feared all along. Not your money, not your charisma, not your reputation, but your alignment. Because when your soul aligns with the fire of God, everything around you begins to respond. Heaven releases, earth shakes, demons flee, doors open, oil flows, and the fire becomes a trailblazer, burning away every obstacle that tried to block your arrival. You've been waiting for confirmation, but this is your commissioning. You've been praying for understanding, but this is your unlocking. It's not enough to survive the fire. You must now become one who carries it. Because there are territories that need your flame. There are lives that need your obedience. There are chains that only your sound can break. This is your moment. This is your mandate. You are stepping into your assignment as a fire bearer, not in fear, but in divine ferocity, not in confusion, but in clarity that only comes from being burned and not consumed. Type "I am activated" in the comments if this is your commissioning moment. Blessing code 515 is now releasing fire onto your next step. While they whispered your name over a candle, angels wrote it in gold. There is a realm beyond sight. A realm where words are weighed, where names are counted, and where intentions echo long after they've been spoken. It is the spirit realm, and while you slept, something holy happened there. While they sat in shadowed rooms and whispered your name into a flickering flame, they thought it was just a ritual. Just another name. Just another target. But they didn't know that your name didn't just land in the air. It landed on the altar. And heaven took note. This was not just an attack. This was a transaction. And in the silence of night, an exchange was made. The moment your name was used without divine permission, the justice of heaven was activated. Not in anger, but in order. While they whispered, heaven wrote. While they lit a candle, angels dipped their pens in fire and etched your name into the scrolls of vindication. While they called spirits to follow you, the Spirit of the living God stepped forward and intervened. They thought they had access to you. But what they didn't realize is that your soul had already been spoken for. You belong to a kingdom that doesn't negotiate with witchcraft. A kingdom that does not tolerate unauthorized touch. And in that moment, that secret, shadowy moment where they spoke curses against your path, something sacred occurred. The curse hit resistance. The flame hit fire. The atmosphere shifted. And heaven responded with a silent, irreversible exchange. Peace for panic. Bitter for fear. Fire for fire. And that's why your soul felt restless. That's why you woke up feeling something had shifted. Dehan. Your spirit picked up what your mind could not see. That while you were unconscious, heaven was conscious on your behalf. You weren't just protected. You were remembered. Angels stood by as divine justice unfolded. What they sent did not touch you, but it did trigger a reversal. What they hoped would land on your head was returned to theirs. Not because you asked for revenge, but because heaven insists on justice. In that unseen moment, peace was returned to your name. The oil that was being drained through confusion and fatigue was replenished. Favor that had been halted began to flow again. Doors that seemed shut began to rattle. Relationships that were strained began to reveal truth. You didn't imagine that shift. It was real. It was the sound of restoration being written back into your life. It was heaven saying, "This one is not to be touched." This one is marked for destiny. The enemy wanted your silence. God gave you a sound. The enemy wanted your isolation. God gave you covering. The enemy wanted your delay. God gave you acceleration. And now, whether they understand it or not, those who attempted to twist your future with flame are watching the very fire they summoned become a chariot of promotion beneath your feet. You may never confront them in the natural. You may never get an apology. But that is not your burden to carry, because the exchange has already been made. The verdict has already been written, and what was sent to follow you has now fled from you, because the fire they whispered into is not stronger than the God who speaks in thunder. You were never without help. You were never vulnerable. While you cried, heaven recorded. While you feared, heaven fought. And while they whispered, heaven wrote your name in gold. Type I receive the exchange in the comments if your spirit bears witness. Blessing code 616 is now sealing the reversal over your life. What they sent will return tenfold, not in wrath, but in divine justice. Justice is not always loud. Sometimes it comes wrapped in silence, disguised in delay, delivered in the timing of God rather than the urgency of man. But rest assured, justice has been served. Not the kind that demands vengeance, but the kind that brings reversal, divine, undeniable, and complete. What was spoken in darkness has now echoed back as judgment. What was intended to bind you has now bound itself. What was loosed against you has now recoiled upon its sender. This is not your hand at work. This is not retaliation. This is the righteous fire of God restoring balance. They thought the flame would go unnoticed. They believed the whisper would remain buried. But heaven does not sleep. God does not slumber. And every curse, every hex, every manipulation was measured, weighed, and returned. Not because God delights in their failure, but because heaven demands truth. And truth, when activated by injustice, carries with it consequences. This is spiritual law. And when the scales tip out of order, the hand of the Almighty sets them right again. So understand, this is not karma. This is kingdom. And the kingdom of God operates under divine law that says, touch not my anointed, and do my prophets no harm. You have been touched. Your name was tampered with. Your destiny was targeted. And now heaven has ruled in your favor. The courtroom of glory has passed its verdict. Reverse it. Return it. Restore them. What they meant to entangle you with has now become their own web. The delays they tried to create in your life are now choking their own timelines. The confusion they conjure has now consumed their own clarity. This is divine reversal, not because you asked for it, but because God is just. Because when His child is attacked for carrying light, He does not sit silent. He responds, not in rage but in righteousness. And now, watch how things begin to flip. Conversations will be exposed. Relationships will be realigned. Those who tried to discredit you will lose access to rooms you were born to enter. You will begin to hear things, not to hurt you, but to free you. God is removing the veil from eyes that were once blind to your value. Suddenly, those who doubted you will feel convicted. Those who misuse your name will feel the weight of what they did. This is not your revenge, it's your release. The very flame that rose to harm you is now lighting your path forward. It will burn away the residue of lies. It will consume every trace of spiritual interference. It will purify the connections that remain and expose those that cannot go forward with you. What once was a weapon is now your witness. What once came to destroy you is now announcing your rise. Your fire has become a signal, not of warfare, but of justice fulfilled. Do not look back. Do not reach for explanation. Let God be God. Let the fire finish what it started. Let those who watched your suffering now witness your restoration. For you are not returning to what was. You are being ushered into what always was yours. There is no curse that can override a divine calling. And there is no whisper that can outlast the voice of the Lord. Your name has been cleared. Your atmosphere has been reset. Your spirit has been unshackled. The reversal is complete. Type "I receive justice" in the comments if you feel heaven's gavel hit. Blessing code 717 is now breaking every cycle and releasing divine reversal. The witch's whisper dies in smoke, but your name rises in flame, divine and untouchable. Let this truth seal your spirit. You were never unprotected. You were never walking alone. From the moment your name was whispered into that flame, heaven went to war on your behalf. You were not forgotten in the fire. You were being purified by it. What felt like warfare was really witness. What looked like chaos was really a covenant. And what they meant for evil, God has now turned into elevation. You are emerging, not burned but brighter, not diminished but distinguished, not weakened but witnessed. This fire did not destroy you. It identified you. You are no longer the version of yourself that entered this battle. You've been refined in silence, elevated through pain, anointed through isolation. And now, as the smoke clears, the truth stands in full view. You are divinely untouchable. God has covered you, not just in protection, but in purpose. You were wrapped in fire because fire was always a part of your identity. You carried the evidence now, the glow of survival, the strength of obedience, the shine of heaven's signature on your life. The enemy wanted to make you a victim of flame, but God has made you a vessel of fire. You are the burning bush that will not be consumed. You are the altar He has chosen to burn upon. You are the light in a world that tried to dim you. Do not carry the fear forward. Leave the residue of battle behind. The war has been won. The whispers have lost their breath. The rituals have collapsed into silence. Because God has spoken, and His voice does not echo, it establishes. He has declared you chosen. He has declared you covered. He has declared you sent. And what He sends, no man, no witch, can stop. Let this be the last time you wonder if you are called. Let this be the last time you question your authority. Let this be the final moment you carry the weight of their warfare. The fire that once hunted you has now become your mantle. You are no longer pursued. You are positioned. So walk forward, flame bearer. Speak with the authority of one who has been through the smoke and stood unshaken. Rest in the stillness that only the proven know. Move with the assurance that only the preserved carry. Heaven is no longer whispering your name. It is announcing it. You are sealed. You are seen. You are sent. Type "I am untouchable" in the comments to receive this final sealing. Blessing code 999 is now written in fire across your next chapter. You've just walked through the flame. Now help carry that fire to others. This message was more than a word, it was a deliverance. And if your heart was ignited, let your hand now sow into someone else's breakthrough. Every super thanks, membership, or gift through PayPal linked in the video description becomes a spark that lights the way for someone still fighting to find their flame. You're not giving to a channel. You're activating a ministry of fire that confronts darkness and awakens purpose. Proverbs 11:25 says, "A generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed." As you give, heaven pours back, fire for fire, favor for obedience, abundance for alignment. Don't wait. Don't scroll past. Respond like someone who's been changed, because you have. So into this fire, fund the flame, and let your giving release miracles you won't even see coming.